The other thing they did, which is probably much more hilarious and ridiculous, was they photoshopped the heads of students onto athletic bodies to make them look like they were college athletes. What's going on, guys? I'm Nick the Tutor, and this channel is dedicated to improving your SAT and ACT scores and educating you on everything about the college process. Now, today, we're going to talk about a very hot topic in the SAT world for many years, which is the SAT scandals that have transpired over the last few years. Now, the fact that I can do a top 5 list of SAT scandals is scary enough in and of itself, but that is what I'm doing today. I'm giving you guys the lowdown on who cheated, how they cheated, and what happened, so you can evaluate how the SAT is fair or not. So let's get into it. All right, number one, we're gonna start off with the most culturally relevant one right now is your boy, Donald Trump. If he was accused of cheating by his niece in her memoir or whatever autobiography she was writing about him, she basically accused him of having someone else take the test for him. She said basically that he's not really a great student and he couldn't have achieved that kind of score, and in order to get into the college that he wanted to, he had to cheat on the test. Now, that has not been confirmed by anybody, so just in the effort of fairness, that's just her allegation. He's obviously going to say that he did take it himself, but no one else has come forward. The person that took it for him hasn't come forward, but it is something that has been noted. I think beyond that, it's also important to note he did not start off at UPenn and transfer there later on, and a lot of people basically say that he kind of backdoored his way into Wharton and that he doesn't really deserve the credit that the current students now get for getting in there, because it is so difficult today to get in. At the end of the day, we don't really know what happened, but like I said, it's alleged by his niece that he did cheat on the exam. All right, number 2 scandal, Lori Loughlin, also known as Aunt Becky, the famous Varsity Blues bust, was a major hot topic on the SAT, ACT, college admissions landscape for a few years, and still is. She's in jail right now. And what happened there was basically this gentleman, Rick Singer, was the ringleader of a massive ring of cheating. So not only did they cheat on the SAT and ACT, they also cheated the college application process. So let's just separate the two and go into one and then the other. For the SAT part, basically what he did was he had a special testing site, which I believe was in Texas, where his students could go and the administrators of the site basically would let them cheat and actively not monitor the fairness of the test that they were taking. Exactly what they did there is up for debate, but a lot of cheating happened, and it was something that was extremely unfair to all the other test takers and people who studied for the exam, just like you guys. The other thing they did, which is probably much more hilarious and ridiculous, was they photoshopped the heads of students onto athletic bodies to make them look like they were college athletes. I think they were rowing, swimming, water polo. Totally ridiculous to do that. I mean, that is almost more, somehow in my mind, more dishonest than like cheating on the SAT. I don't know why I feel that way, but that's just like going OD, above and beyond, to be a scumbag. I mean, like, to Photoshop your face on a fake picture of an athlete is just beyond. And that's what they did. Among other things, there was payoffs. There was, what obviously the coach of the rowing team or whatever team had to be involved in the scheme because they're taking this person as an athlete. And, athletes get, I guess a little bit of leniency on their college applications because they're of value to the school. But you being photoshopped onto the face of a rower has absolutely no value to the rowing team. So they're just getting it for a payoff. And I think there were several coaches that were involved in this ring, and that was quite unfortunate for them because I'm sure they're fired if not put in jail. And at the end of the day, 33 families were busted doing this, some extremely high profile, such as Lori Loughlin and other, very wealthy people and celebrities and so on and so forth. So this was a wide-reaching effort, and hopefully it's not going on today, but who knows? All right, moving on. The next big scandal was the 2011 Great Neck SAT cheating scandal. So basically in that scandal, some students paid other students to take the test for them. Back then, there was, I would say, much more lenient procedure on the SAT. You didn't have to show several forms of ID and have your picture on your ticket and fill out all this stuff. You kind of just, maybe you had to show some form of ID, but it could easily be faked. You go down to Canal Street, get a fake ID with someone else's name on it, and go take the SAT for them. And that's basically what happened. And those students, unfortunately, were caught, or fortunately rather, I guess you could say, and that was very bad for them. Many of them claim that it's ruined their lives. But one thing they did not do was they did not rescind their college acceptances, which I found to be very peculiar. If I was running a college, I would immediately expel all those students. I mean, I just don't care. That would be expelled. But they didn't, right? I don't think any of them got expelled. I think they actually were able to graduate. And what happened was, now down the road, it does kind of carry with them, they say, with jobs and so on and so forth. But I think most of those students actually have made it past that. And, look, everyone deserves a second chance in life. I don't think that someone should be held to a mistake they made in high school for the rest of their life. At least something like that. There's other ones that probably are much worse, right? Like murdering someone or something to that effect. But it's still not good, right? And so just, I think the end of the day, the moral of that story is that it's just not worth it, because it's going to last and stick with you for a long time, and that was just unfortunate. And final point about the scandal in Great Neck with taking the SAT for someone else. The amount of money that people were paying for this was so low. To risk your entire academic career for a few $1,000s is outlandish. If you're going to do something like that, at least require like $100,000. Not saying that anyone should do that, but let's just be realistic. Like, who is going to violate laws and procedures and risk their whole college career for a few $100? That's just bad business, right? Not to say you should do it anyway. I mean, I wouldn't do it for millions of dollars, but I mean, come on, bro. Like $500? Like, you got to be kidding. Another big scandal, scandal number 4, is the Claremont McKenna college scandal. Now, this one comes from a little bit of a different angle. Instead of it being students trying to get high scores to get in, this is a college inflating their scores to inflate their rankings. So this college was accused and caught actually inflating SAT and ACT scores of applicants and admitted students. And they did this because the U.S. News and World Report greatly emphasizes SAT and ACT scores in their college admission standards. So what this college did was they inflated them by something around 10 to 20 points per section, and that actually caused, theoretically, their rankings to go up. So that's why they did it, and they were caught, and that's obviously terrible, and I guess they should lose their accreditations for something like that. But it happened, and it's crazy. All right, next scandal, scandal number 5, very similar. University of Louisiana Lafayette assistant football coach accused of a very similar kind of game, but here what he was doing was basically routing potential recruits to a certain testing site so they could get a favorable testing condition, probably cheat, and then get into the school. Because, many schools for certain athletes have certain scores they need to get, and if the recruit can't meet the score, then the college won't accept them, and then they won't be on the team. So coaches have an incentive and oftentimes push students to get higher scores. Now, this is going above and beyond that to a level that's cheating, but at the end of the day, that is a common practice every day, and something that I personally deal with a lot of students. So nothing wrong with that, but you can't cheat to get what you want. And in this scandal, students would drive hundreds of miles to these specific testing centers, and the proctors and administrators would help change their answers to try to better benefit the students. So at the end of the day, that's of course totally and utterly cheating. All right, and a bonus scandal, scandal number 6. Several years ago, about 15 Chinese students were accused of paying United States students to take the SAT for them, and they were of course busted doing that. They were actually paying a bit more, something close to $6,000 per test, which I still think is incredibly low. I'm telling you, at least $100,000. I'm not kidding. But no, all jokes aside, they paid again, and that's just messed up, bro. Like, you really gotta chill. So, moral of the story, gladly, a lot of these cheaters have been caught. So for all of you out there taking the SAT, you study for it fairly. There's so few cheaters now that you can achieve success. Comment down below. Let me know if you've heard of any of these stories, if you've heard of anyone cheating. Let me know a little bit about how you feel about it, man. Just sound off in the comments, and then we'll get into it next time. See ya.